Brush lettering, illustration, bullet journaling, note-taking. These pens are talked about a lot in those spaces. But are they really worth the hype? Famous Tombow Dual Brush Pens. These big colorful markers are everywhere nowadays. Even though when I started lettering almost a decade ago, they were only really in select craft stores. But I'm sure you have seen them and wondered, are they worth the price? Before you fork over your cash for these beauties, let's go ahead and talk about the pros and the cons to see if a set of Tombow Dual Brush Pens is right for you. First, I love the fact that there are two tips to these markers. I use the brush tip way more often than the bullet tip, but I do really enjoy having the bullet tip as an option because it just opens up a lot of opportunities. Another thing I love about Tombow Dual Brush Pens is how many colors they have available. Do I need all the colors? No. But I do love knowing that there's tons of options to choose from whenever I'm shopping and adding to my collection. Another thing I love is that the brush tip is super great for beginner letterers. It's just got such a nice texture with the nylon tip, and it's really resilient, so you don't need to worry about accidentally damaging it while you're learning. In fact, I always recommend Tombow Dual Brush Pens for new letterers. Last but not least, these pens are pretty damn durable. I have had some of these pens for going on 8 years now and use them quite regularly. I gotta say, they stand up to the test of time. Sure, after a while the tips can maybe get a little bit fuzzy or ragged, and the ink can maybe start to get a little bit more scratchy, but in all that time, I've never had a pen completely dry up on me, which I think is pretty impressive. Now, let's talk about cons. These pens are large. While that might not be a bother for some people, and while I think it makes a great grip for beginners to learn lettering with, it does mean that they're a little bit more unruly in tight spaces, like on airplanes for example, and that they don't always fit in standard size pen pouches. One final complaint that I have is that Tombow Dual Brush Pens are not refillable. That's pretty common in today's world, but personally I prefer pens that you can have the option of refilling because it's a little bit more environmentally friendly and it just means that you get more bang for your buck. So when these dry out, they're trash. Would I recommend these pens? Absolutely, yes I would. Tombow Dual Brush Pens may not be perfect, but they are spectacularly useful for letterers, artists, and illustrators of all kinds. So if you're wanting to jump into brush lettering and you're looking for a brush pen, look no further. I've been using the dual brush pens for coming up on a decade now, and I'm not looking to give up on them anytime soon.